Well, when last we saw you, you ran into the unfortunate Loyola Marymount buzzsaw on a
Mm.
team that had so much promise, and I wanted to ask you to reflect on what could have been, because last year I think you had it all targeted to be a great team, and then Inky got hurt.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the first thing you brought up, Loyola Marymount. Um, Loyola Marymount is represents a part of the greatness of women's volleyball, in my opinion, or women's volleyball as a sport. They were a very good team through their conference. They didn't light it up through their conference, but if you looked at them at the end of the conference, holy cow, were they playing really well. I should have called the San Diego coach before the playoffs, and she might not have given me information. It's her conference, but her comment, I'm sure, would have been, look out, your team won't know they're this good, and they are. And then when they got here and they won a very close game one, um, they just lit it up and they played great. I think they're well coached. I think that they have good athletes. I think they play really good volleyball. And then when you get hot in the playoffs, that's what's the difference. It's parity is really cool. When I first started coaching volleyball, how many centuries ago? Um, I think if I looked at the schedule at UOP, we had a really good team. And Terry had just had UOP in the Final Four. There might have been 5 matches on our schedule we could lose. Now, every match that's on our schedule we could lose. That's just a cool sport for spectators, for kids to play, because it's pretty amazing. So that's one part of our story. That's part of why we love women's volleyball. I do. It's just amazing. You have to come every day. I have to come to be a good coach every day. There's no days off, and that's exciting. Um, yeah, we had built up through in our program, having Maddie and Brittany and Jordan and Inky get on the court when they were freshmen. First year, got to the regional playoffs, caught a hot Michigan team in the match to go to the Final Four. Could easily have been in the Final Four with 4 freshmen in the lineup. And there were 4 freshmen that two outside hitters that were 6 rotations, a 5-1 setter, and a great middle. And so that's a lot of touches on the court for freshmen. And we had a great season. High expectations for the next year. Um, and we had a great season, ended up being again in Kentucky against Penn State in a great match.
One of the greatest matches ever.
Yeah. Up 10-7, game 5. Great volleyball. Not just pure, beautiful, like, oh my gosh, what a pass set hit, but just great volleyball on the court, great effort, and like inspirational to watch. Little kids should have watched that game to love volleyball. Or that's one of the games. Penn State won, then won the Final Four. That group is upset, knowing that they have opportunity. They could have already been to the Final Four twice with the people they were playing. And then the next year, we had a great year. We were 28-0 at one point, going through a great season with really good teams in our conference. Played a really hard preseason. We're undefeated. And we kind of ran out of gas at the end. We used too much of it up getting there. The Pac-12 might have been the best number of good teams in the conference in the history of the conference, and we got kind of used up and met Penn State at the Final Four and lost. And so we're building up to this year when these 4 kids are going to be seniors. They are playing in the sand. They're learning more. They're learning more about themselves emotionally, all that stuff that you get through sand. They're learning about strategy more, and they're mature. They know what they've been through. They're the leaders on the team. And then we have the misfortune of Inky being certainly one of the best players in the country, if not the best at that point. And she's in the hunt with the national team, and there's an Olympics coming up, and so she's in and out of their gym several times during the year, and the last time she's in Peru, kind of a out of system bad play, lands, tears her ACL. Clearly, I mean, as a coach, it's just heartbreaking to meet her at the hospital, have the doctor look at it, and they're not sure what's wrong, and have him say, "No, you really hurt your knee, and it's going to have to be fixed, and you're done for the year." And she's a very inspirational kid and tough that I would never say. Oh, I've certainly never seen her cry. and that's all she was about for a while, because this was a horrifying event for an athlete whose body is a temple and she's never really heard it before. And so then there's the matter of kind of picking up the shattered pieces of our psyche, so to speak, building up to this and have her be out. And it's tough. And it's tough on the other three partners in her class who know that they're going to do this, and a big piece of it is her. And so trying to go from there with that, I mean, I'm really proud of them. We went through a lot. We had Jordan Burgess was hurt the whole year. She was a first-team All-American the year before. Moretta Lutz broke her finger the second day of practice. She's an All-American, had 6 screws put in her finger, and played with the screws in her finger the rest of the year. Played 2 weeks later after surgery, which was like amazing to our surgeon. And so it's like something that you don't want to have anybody go through that you've ever coached that we went through. I'm really proud because the group went through a lot, tried, and to the end, when Loyola Marymount beat us, we had a path that we could have taken to the Final Four and who knows what, because when you get to there, the fire lights and you never know what's going to happen. Ask Nebraska. They were amazing at the end of the season, and while they were good with high hope, I'm not sure anybody knew they were going to be that amazing and that run at the end. And it was fun to watch, and I just wanted my team to be that team.